My name is Sam Hargrave. I was the second unit director and stunt coordinator on Atomic Blonde. Today we're going to do a stunt breakdown in the father figure sequence from the film. This is what we call a picture hit. You know, the elbow is kind of the center point, so you don't extend your arm past your elbow. As you can see, she extends her elbow first. He is back at a safe distance. It looks like he's right on top of her, but he's back about 8 to 12 inches there. So she extends her elbow out and then extends the hose out, and it looks like it hits him right on the nose, and he does a great reaction. The hat flies off. And those little details, we try to, find and execute, where put the hat on loosely, because we know it's kind of like hair. Long hair is better than like a bald head. Charlize Theron trained a lot for this sequence. We had her in LA for probably 6 or 8 weeks before principal photography. And the stuff I love about movies is, these guys had to do this over and over again. And underneath this carpet, we had some stunt pads. That way you can really get Charlize doing it. There's less risk of her getting injured. And she did this. This is her. We just trained her in a lot of judo, so she's throwing a little judo in the mix there, a little taitoshi, tossing him head over heels. In an instance like this, the actor and stunt performer work together. A real fight, throwing somebody is not easy. They work together. She's really motivating him, but he's helping her. He gets light, and when she does the move, he goes with her and tumbles over and makes it look dramatic and painful. The magic of movies and the beauty of visual effects nowadays, working well with stunts, his floor was padded. And so where he was falling, we had a 1-inch foam mat screen printed to look like the floor, so he could do this repeatedly. And here's a bit of little detail of a gun disarm with the hose, trying to think of different ways to utilize it as a defensive weapon. You've got a table with some glass on it, you gotta break it. This one is real glass, and we put underneath that carpet again, had a nice stunt mat so the guy could do it repeatedly and not get too banged up. We had special effects. You can kind of see, once he breaks the table, the glass explodes very dramatically. So we had special effects, had glass poppers on the corners there. So as soon as he hits it, boom, they give it a nice dramatic effect. Because a lot of times glass breaking is kind of boring. Like it breaks and falls straight down. So just for a better effect in the movies, we have special effects get in there with their explosive devices and make it a little more exciting for camera. So we come back to this guy. So here we tried to mess with this environment. Like, what would be there? What could you use if these guys are armed? How can you combat their weapons with everyday environmental weapons? And you can see here, I didn't notice this before, but it's a fun little detail. Our rubber pot. Watch the handle as she grabs it. Boing, 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 boing. There are many instances where you use an editing technique called frame dropping, where you want to speed up certain aspects of a fight, or make something have a little more impact. This is one of them, to make that dislocation look even more powerful. So it goes from here to that moment. So you drop a frame and it's kind of shockingly fast. Another place the editors did that is right here. There's a few frames skipped to speed this moment up. So you go from this first side of the disarm to the gun's gone. Again, with a sound effect and at speed, it makes it seem extremely fast and violent. Here, so you got it's just an added little trick that editors like to use, and it's effective. Yeah, the old leg, and then great reaction from our stunt guy here, and she's really just going for it. And a lot of times it's up to the stunt performer to sell the power of the hit from the actor, but also here Charlize does a great job of selling the hit. I mean, she's twisting into it. She wraps all the way around the other side of her body. Bonk. And this we did in 2. This is like a stitch. You can see the frames kind of repeat. So she did her first shot, and then camera whipped off into nothing. And then for the next piece, we had the guy stand there, and this is a rubber pot, whatever you call this, and we hit him in the face with it. And he did, I think that was 13 times. And you can kind of see the hand there. If you see that on the edge for the right edge of frame there, it's not supposed to be there, but you can see the guy, the hand. In real life, like for a woman with fighting, you're up against men. What do you do to overcome these adversaries? So for lack of a better cliche, is nut shots are great. He's wearing a groin protector, a cup, and this is our stunt double doing it, and she's quite accurate with her kicks. And the performer getting kicked, you can kind of roll your pelvis forward and kind of raise the dangerous bits, and you kind of, with the toe of the person kicking, you kind of reach a little bit and go more for the padded area of the rump, so you can make more contact. And it actually, at speed, you know, it looks extremely painful, and gets probably a big reaction from all the men in the audience. And then she turns and she's just on a roll with the groin shots, goes with the hose, little whip it right to the groin there. And so here we smash the guy with the fridge, and you can, again, these little details of movie making, you can see on the refrigerator door, you see the outline here is not perfect. This is a foam piece that we cut and painted to go on top of the fridge. And you can see as we go to the side how it sticks out a little bit more on the fridge. And so we, you know, smashed our stunt guy in the face with the door of a fridge. And he's preparing back there with a mouthpiece, and he knows it's coming, and he's, you know, attacking. You can see him right there. He's attacking it. Watch him lean his head into it. Boom. Which is often better than, rather than waiting to get hit, you just kind of go at it. It's better, in my opinion, to go big once and get it rather than, you know, timidly doing the door, because the guy gets hit anyway. It's more accumulation that you get injured or hurt by. Like, instead of just getting hit one time hard with the door and I've got it, moving on, you hit him, you know, a little harder please, and now it's 10 times and the guy's got a concussion, and you're like, just hit him once the first time hard. And so we did. This was, I think, one time, maybe twice for this, but she just wham. This shows off a lot of her training, and it's fun to do that with, so you don't have to hide an actor's inadequacies with cuts or shaky cam. Like this camera, it just sits here and it's on it, you know, just adjusts the framing, but it just watches her go through all these moves and beat up the stunt guys. And they had, you know, she'd rehearse this for a number of days, and you bring in the guys on the day, and they rehearse it for camera. And even on the day, we'd be doing it and be like, it's just not working. So this would change. Like every one of these, like this guy was here, and then this ended up, it was like probably an hour of just what's working best, what's flowing best, and it, you know, we ended up with this, which is why her training of being, you know, in the gym and learning a lot of different moves that go together, not just those specific rote routines. It allows her to be flexible, and it gives us the dynamic range of action that we kind of sometimes need. You know, you can see there, it's happening so fast, and he sells it real great, but he's not getting hit in the face. It's probably a good 6 to 8 inches short, but at speed, that's the sound effects and whatnot, just it sounds like hitting him. Same with this one. She went, you know, behind his head, so he's there, and she went off behind, and she did a good job of dragging, we call it. So instead of pointing your wrist and the whole thing's thick out on the head, she dragged it through, so she was less likely to overextend and crack our guy on top of the head. We had, again, the use of special effects and their explosive charges to blow the table. On this one, it was 2 separate takes. We shot 2 cameras simultaneously. We had one here that would follow him to the ground, and one receiving him, which was the angle that they ended up using for the second half, this part. But you can see them as different takes, because on this one, he's flying almost over the table. You see it break right below his legs there on the bottom of frame here. You can see it start to break, and he goes over it like he's on a cable here. So we had a cable attached to his back. He's wearing a vest called a jerk vest. It covers his upper torso. Made a very low profile, lightweight, but very strong material. And they had a cable attached to his back, which they later digitally eliminate. See this dust kind of flying up here and you can see it go up. See that? And the glass breaking here. That's where the special effects have their little explosive charge. So as soon as he touches it, they press their button and the charge goes up, which breaks the glass. Otherwise, and then we had one happen where the charge did not go off and the whole sheet of glass went with him. People that make glass, they know that it's fragile, so they make it not to break. So these things are not easy to break. And usually with that kind of glass, with tempered glass, it's not a question of if you're going to get cut, it's say where and how bad. This is on a stage, so we built this, and the stage was elevated about 10 feet off the ground. And that's not easy. Like, that's not an easy thing to do, to get your steps in line. That railing, like, which is narrow, it's only about 2 inches wide with those, you know, boots on. She is not on a cable for this. She free jumped it. She jumped right down. And then the double, she is on a cable. It had a wire rig above where this camera is, and so it slows her down enough that when it redirects her inside on this next piece, here you can see when she hits the end of this, there's a jarring, and even the camera guy wasn't quite ready for that. And they did that all, you know, all in one. We had 3 cameras, and then this one, they just painted out the cameras on top. That would be like, and we had a rig here that came out, and that the cable was attached to, and they had a camera up in here. They just digitally replaced it all. And so this one, we had some pads down there on the bottom, and we set this up. This is a real desk he's going over, and we're like, all right, whatever you do, don't land on your head. Yep, he did. But we loved it so much that we asked him to do it again. And you can kind of actually see, right? If you look down here, you can kind of see the outline of this stunt pad down here. And then here, we hooked him again to a cable and pulled out the set wall on the side so that we could get our dolly track. And that glass that you see there, it's all silicone glass. And then you see that hard impact we yanked him into. He had a back protector on there, and we just gave him a good old yank right into that steel fence. Actually, one of the harder bits was this one, just because of the nature of it. And they had a platform out probably 15 or 20 feet back from that railing, and then maybe, it's like 15 feet high. She was just holding on to the hose, and she swung in, let go, and hit the door, and then right to the ground. I mean, she's super slick, but not, she didn't land like in a 3-point pose like Iron Man or Spider-Man. It's like, that stuff's not easy to do. So we tried to make, as fun as that fight is and as unrealistic as a lot of that stuff is, we tried to add enough realism to where you feel like she's human. It's a great way to end that sequence.